Hi, Mike here at the beginning of January at my Massachusetts home. For the last couple of years at this time of year, I've gone down to Georgia to take part in their two-day national ranking orienteering event and then gone on to Florida to visit some friends and do a little bit of sightseeing. I've wanted to do an orienteering event in Florida for a while. I did live there for 4 years, a long time ago, but I was recovering from a serious back injury, so I wasn't doing any running at that time. So this year they are putting on a 3-day informal set of events around Tampa at the same time as the Georgia event, and that was too tempting for me to miss up the opportunity to finally compete in Florida. The impetus for that was they got 75 Scandinavians coming down who are going on a cruise around the Caribbean ending up in Tampa. So the Florida Orienteering Clubs are going to be putting on some events there, so I'm really looking forward to that. I was planning on driving down today, it's Sunday, leaving sort of mid-afternoon, but as you can see, the weather is not very conducive at the moment to driving. I've got to wait till the snow finishes and then clear the driveways, and then I'll go off. And any more snow that comes along, my wife can take care of that while I'm away because she won't be traveling with me. So I may or may not leave today. I have a number of different options, including waiting until Monday to leave. So that's probably the safest thing to do, but we'll see what happens. Well, the snow finally finished on Sunday, and at about 6:30 I dug us out from about 12 inches of snow on the driveways, and by that time it was too late to go, so I decided to leave Monday morning, which was fine. The roads were very drivable. In fact, I did a long drive, was in the van for almost 10 hours, did plenty of stops on the way, and got to a Cracker Barrel restaurant for parking overnight. Now, Tuesday, today, it is very wet, but after a long day's drive yesterday, I do need to get out, stretch my legs. I'm going to go for about an hour's walk. I'm in the North Anna Battlefield Park, which is a site of one of the Civil War battles. So I'm going to get about 3 miles in, about an hour's walk in a very wet day. But I need the exercise, so on with it. I don't know if you can see it, but here's a trench line, part of the war, part of the battle. Golly, fighting is such a stupid human activity. Oh, here we are back at the van. Been walking in my hiking boots and orienteering pants, which is a good thing to do in the rain, much better than my jeans. Did about, let's have a look, 3.17 miles. Managed to do about 2.5 hours driving this morning. Stopped a couple of times. One time I stopped to get rid of some of the RV antifreeze in the van. Now that I'm entering parts of the country that are above freezing, I can put water in the tank and start using the sinks, the shower and the toilet inside the van instead of having to go elsewhere and figure out other options. So I'm looking forward to that. More crappy weather to drive through. Heavy rain. Yesterday was an incredibly stormy day. Actually, unfortunately, a few people did die in the storm, and the van was rocking and swaying in the night until about 10 o'clock when things calmed down. But overall, today looks like it's going to be a good day for driving, so on with it. Yep, this is much nicer driving than yesterday's rain and windstorms. Well, after a long day's drive yesterday, made it to Florida. Stayed at a truck stop just outside Jacksonville. That gives me time today, which is Thursday, the day before the orienteering starts, to take it easy, go have a nice long walk in the morning, stretch my legs, get down towards Tampa in the afternoon. So here we are on a trail in northern Florida. We're at Jennings State Forest. It's slightly different than a walk in a New England woods, which are hilly, rocky, full of close covered trees. Bit hard to see, but In the woods there is an armadillo. Well, I made it down to the Tampa area. I'm going to see if I can park on the beach by the bridge here. Actually, I decided I'm going to come further down and go on the fishing pier, which is the old bridge before it got demolished. So tomorrow's event will be on the horizon there across the water at Fort DeSoto Country Park. We'll get there by going around the land there in the distance, which we'll get to by going over the new Sunshine Skyway Bridge. And this is where I'm at tonight. Pretty interesting overnight location. Night went well, and the next day after breakfast, packed the van up, get ready to go. Here we go over the new bridge. The old one got knocked down when a boat crashed into it. So here we go down the other side of the bridge, and we'll hit land soon, and eventually we get to the country park, which is where we are here. And here we are at the event. It's all very informal, as you can see, but it was well worth it. And there are a group of the Swedish Orienteers sort of camped out there. They came in a couple of large coaches. This was actually around where my penultimate control was. You can just see somebody going to it. And the last control I had was out actually on the beach over there in one of the lifeguard stations. So that was probably the most interesting control location I've had. Here's the map with the course on it. I was doing the orange course. Usually I might do a longer course, but I didn't think I could do 3 long courses for me in 3 days, so I did orange on day 1, green on day 2, orange on day 3. Typically in one of my orienteering videos, if you've seen them before, I will show you the lake, let you have a chance to decide what route you might take, then I'll tell you what route I did, give some reasons why I chose that, and then we'll look at the video of the route. But since the navigation here is pretty straightforward, given that I wasn't doing a very complex course and the land itself doesn't lend itself to technically difficult courses, we're just going to take a look at the whole route video, and we'll run it at a slightly faster speed, and I'll give some commentary as I go around. Right, so off we go. Very nice day for running around in the grass covered sand dunes basically of Fort DeSoto Country Park. Pretty straightforward long run start down this side of the parking lot, so let's start speeding things up. Alright, here we go. Gosh, if only I could run this fast in real life. Palm trees, flat ground, unlike anything I would experience in New England, and warm weather. Having left the snow behind, this was really pleasant. So we're now approaching the first control. Always good to get that under your belt. In amongst the palm trees. There we go. And off to now see what the sort of scrubland is going to look like, the rough open. We'll see what that's like. Alright, time to start speeding it up again. Here we go, across the rough open. Definitely looks runnable. First time in this terrain, so you want to start to learn what the different parts of the terrain are going to be like for runnability, and just keeping an eye on the slightly green area to the right here, just to get a sense of how thick that is. You can see it's a little bit impenetrable. Going into the third control, will I find it through there? Yes, I did. I don't think you got a chance to see it in the video, but I can assure you I went to it. And we're just going to go back out and cross this scrubland again. Might get to see the water, see the ocean with the next control. There it is, onto the left.
fourth control. So the fifth one is just a pretty long run. I'm going to cut the video to where we get to the trail. Okay, here we are coming off the sort of the road, going into the woods. And in this area, I had to be a bit careful with the trails, just to make sure I didn't go off into the woods in the wrong place. So I actually have to stop here, make sure I feel comfortable with where I am. And I still feel pretty good that I'm on track. And here's the path to the left. And just going through here into the control. And there it is. Fellow competitor. Cutting through a bit of the scrubland, got a little bit more dense for a few yards, a few meters than I thought it would be. Work my way between all the palm trees, across the trail. Across the parking lot and find the distinctive tree. There's the control. Now 6 or 7 goes a little bit wrong for me. I don't know why, but I had a lot of trouble following these roads. And you'll see that I should have gone in right here. A quick look actually. But decided I wasn't far enough and I went round another couple of bends. And thought the control was going to be in here, which of course it wasn't because I'd gone too far. So at this point I'm kind of wondering what has gone on, and I do eventually realize that I've just gone too far. What I did actually was I used the water feature there to help judge how far I'd gone, and I could tell that I was way past the control. So I could see it was almost opposite the end of the land, opposite the water. So I felt pretty sure that I was near the control at this point. But I wasn't quite sure which tree it was around. In fact, I got the wrong one initially. Get to it eventually, and there it is. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, 7 to 8 was definitely my worst mistake. Started out fine. I was going to go along this road and basically go past Control 5, wind my way through the trails and go into 8. But we'll see, that is not what happened. Well, so far so good. Go off to the trail here. But then I mentioned earlier that it might be a bit difficult to, for this going past number 5 again, Might be a bit difficult to find some of these trails and follow them, and in fact I ended up going too far left and was on a trail parallel to the one I thought I was on, which meant I pretty much ended up at a dead end in the woods. But at this point I wasn't convinced that I'd gone too far wrong. I thought I might still have been on one of the trails that I was expecting to be on. And eventually you've got to cut your losses, and I knew that if I just kept going left, which would have been southeast, I would hit that big road, well, a big trail. But I hadn't decided to do that just yet, still having another quick look around. This was just stupid of me. I should have just been going left to get out to that big track, which I eventually did decide to do. And then it was just a matter of running down the roads in a pretty disappointed state of mind. Having said, there wasn't a whole lot of difficult navigation on this course. There was still enough that if you weren't careful, you could lose time. So we're just going on this track, and I'll cut the recording here till I turn off to number 8. Okay, here we are, back into the woods. This is just a simple trail junction here. There it is. And you can see that 8 to 9 is just a matter of going to the parking lot. And across it into the control. So let's pick this up nearer the control as we cross the parking lot. Okay, and we set it to normal speed so the video isn't joking around so much. And you can see I'm not going particularly fast at this point. And there's the control by that lone tree. I thought it might have been nice to go more or less straight from 9 to 10, but there was that markings on the map indicating areas not to be crossed. So it was just a matter of going along this trail all the way down. So we'll skip to the end of this trail, which is actually near the finish. Okay, here we are, just gone past the finish. Pavilion on the left was where the Swedish orienteers were hanging out. And now we're just heading at normal speed to the penultimate control. Going to go almost past the last control on the way to it. So okay, here we are. I know that my penultimate control is just to my right, but I'm not interested in going to it just yet. Just cross the grass covered sand dune and go out onto the beach. get to the lifeguard station. As I mentioned before the race, this was one of the most unusual controls I've ever been to. I'm in my 50th year of orienteering. Never had a lifeguard station before for a control. Now we go back to that penultimate control. So crossing this little sand dune barrier, I just went a bit too far left and it got a bit green, a little bit difficult to get through, so I had to go along it a bit further. Wasted a few seconds. Before I could finally go round and into the control. Which was right there. Now it's just a matter of trying to put in a bit of a run to get to the finish. Don't want to look like I'm completely exhausted and can't run at all, since there's some people watching. So, a little bit of burst up to the finish. No, it's not next to that person there. It's just round here, and here we are, end of the race.
So that was the end of the orange course. A lot more competitors starting now, and I did okay at the beginning. Then I started getting a bit tired. I don't run well in the heat, and I know it's only 65 here, but from where I come in New England, this is warm. And I made a couple of stupid mistakes, which you'll see in the orienteering race video. And met a Swedish orienteer at the finish, who the US competitor she knows is Sharon Crawford, so she kind of says hi to Sharon. Use live logs to get the results live. Well, this is part of the outcome of the event today. My knee swelled up a little bit, which is pretty frustrating because it had been doing so much better over the last 2 or 3 weeks since I've been using the Zwift app on the indoor bike. But it's been like this in the past, so I should be able to get around the next couple of days. And let's see how it goes. I opted not to have another meal in the van, but instead to go out to Sonny's barbecue.
And it was another night in a Cracker Barrel parking lot in the van. And tomorrow would be another race, but that's for another video. So my thanks to the whole crew at Florida Orienteering Clubs who put on a really great first event. Looking forward to the next one.